Okay, let's unpack this. For like thousands of years, people have been wondering about sex, specifically ejaculation and how it affects our, health and mentality.
Right. It goes way back.
Yeah, I mean, you look at ancient ideas like Taoism around 500 BC, they were already saying ejaculation might drain male sexual energy. It's this really old curiosity, isn't it?
It absolutely is.
So, does ejaculation actually hurt our health? Or, more specifically, does it mess with our testosterone? That's the big question we're tackling in this deep dive. We're going to
Right.
explore that, dig into the biochemistry of the male orgasm, which is fascinating stuff, and also look at what really works for increasing testosterone and, well, just feeling better overall.
And what's fascinating here is just how much this question still hangs around today, even with all the science we have.
Yeah, you'd think we'd have settled it.
Exactly. There's so many misconceptions floating around about, sex, testosterone, general energy levels, despite all the info out there.
So,
So our goal here is really to cut through that noise using clear, evidence-based insights from the sources we looked at.
okay, let's dive right in then. The core question. Does ejaculation make us lose testosterone or feel, I don't know, weaker? Lots of people seem to think so.
That's a very common belief.
And, if you glance at some studies, you can find slightly higher testosterone levels when someone's abstaining from sex.
Yes, that initial finding is out there.
But, and this is really important, most of those studies only track people for maybe 3 weeks. And the average difference, it's tiny, like zero point 0.5 nanograms.
Practically negligible when you think about normal levels.
Right. Normal male testosterone is what, 300 to 1,000 nanograms per deciliter? So zero
Uh,
point 0.5 is, I mean, it's almost nothing in the grand scheme.
Exactly. It's a fraction of a percent. And what's maybe even more surprising, kind of flying in the face of that popular idea,
Yeah.
orgasm itself has never actually been shown to directly change blood testosterone levels.
Really? So no post-ejaculation drop?
Nope. Research doesn't show that. It also doesn't show lower levels in guys who are, say, very sexually active in the last day or so.
Huh.
And critically, there's just no solid evidence of big, lasting testosterone spikes just from holding off on sex.
Okay, so that really flips the script on the whole abstinence boosts testosterone idea.
It does, which, raises an important question. If abstinence isn't the magic bullet for T levels, what is testosterone mainly doing?
Good point. What do the sources say?
Well, its primary role seems to be driving sexual desire, that initial libido push.
Mm-hmm.
It works alongside dopamine for that.
Well,
But it doesn't seem to play a huge direct role in the orgasm itself.
interesting. So why do people think abstinence gives this massive boost then, if it's just a tiny temporary bump?
That small increase, sometimes seen, it's likely an evolutionary thing, sort of the body trying to nudge the system back online.
Ah, like trying to reactivate the drive for reproduction.
Exactly. Maybe helping levels return to a baseline, say 500 nanograms, if they dipped a bit. But the idea that your body can suddenly double its production, go from 500 to 1,000 just by abstaining,
Yeah.
the resources just aren't there for that.
Gotcha. You mentioned dopamine, too.
Right. Dopamine precursors, like
Mm.
tyrosine, that's an amino acid your body uses to make dopamine,
Okay.
those can actually increase erection frequency and general sexual excitement in both men and women.
And then there's prolactin. That works against dopamine.
Yeah, precisely. Prolactin is often linked to milk production, but sexually, it opposes dopamine. High prolactin tends to lower sex drive and fertility.
Hmm.
And this whole dopamine-prolactin balance, it kind of makes you wonder about today's world, right? With easy access to so much intense stimuli everywhere.
Yeah. How so?
Well, the potential impact on our dopamine systems, it might partly explain some trends, like the source mentioning that around half of men under 30 aren't sexually active. It's complex, obviously, but the biochemical side is part of the picture.
That's a really interesting angle. Okay, so let's shift gears a bit and look at the actual mechanics. What's happening inside the body during sex? Let's start with erections.
Okay, the key player there is nitric oxide, or NO.
Right, I've heard of that. It helps with blood flow.
Exactly. It's crucial for vasodilation, basically, relaxing and widening blood vessels. That allows more blood to flow into the sexual organs, essential for a firm erection.
So, things that boost NR could help. What kind of things are we talking about?
Well, diet plays a big role. Our sources mention foods like beets, meats, ginger, dark chocolate, pomegranate, even a bit of red wine, leafy greens, seeds.
Wow, quite a list. Some good stuff in there. Why do they work?
Some, like beets, are high in nitrates that your body converts to NO. Others, like meats, provide L-arginine, which is a building block for NO.
Makes sense.
Mm.
And you mentioned something else practical.
Oh, yeah. Here's where it gets really interesting, something you can actively do. Pelvic muscle exercises.
Okay.
Basically, yes, strengthening those pelvic floor muscles. For men, it's like gently lifting the anus, that kind of internal squeeze, holding it.
Yeah.
Doing that regularly, say 20, 30 reps, maybe 3 times a day,
Mm.
can really improve erection quality because those muscles help trap the blood flow. They're often neglected but need exercise like any other muscle.
That's a great actionable tip. Okay, so that's erection. What about ejaculation?
For ejaculation, the key player shifts. It's serotonin.
Yep.
Yes, the same stuff linked to mood and relaxation. It's needed for the processes that actually trigger ejaculation.
Huh. So that's why some antidepressants, which affect serotonin.
Exactly. They're sometimes used off-label to help treat premature ejaculation because they can delay the process.
Fascinating. So managing serotonin is important for timing, basically. Not too fast, not too slow.
Precisely. And you can influence that partly through diet getting enough tryptophan, which is the precursor for serotonin,
Right.
and also having good gut health. Since a lot of serotonin activity is linked to the gut microbiome, it's all connected.
It always comes back to the gut, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens after orgasm?
Right after, those dopamine levels that spiked beforehand, they plummet. Evolutionarily speaking, the brain's like, okay, mission accomplished, genes potentially passed on,
Job done.
job done. But, and this is crucial, dopamine isn't what gives you that feeling of satisfaction or release.
Oh, what is then?
That's prolactin again. It surges post-orgasm, giving that sense of, well, euphoria or deep relaxation. It's also what causes the refractory period.
Ah, the time when you're not interested in round 2 immediately.
Exactly. That lack of desire to continue. The peak of that feeling usually lasts around 10 minutes or so, though it varies.
Can you influence that refractory period?
Potentially. Keeping prolactin levels in a healthy range might help shorten it. Things like vitamin B6 and vitamin E, either from supplements or diet, are sometimes suggested for helping regulate prolactin.
Interesting. Okay, so bringing it back, if you've been thinking about abstinence, maybe wondering if you should cut back, it's probably come from a good place, right? Wanting to be healthier.
Absolutely. It usually stems from a desire to optimize health.
But what the sources really hammer home is that while abstinence might have spiritual meaning for some, you probably shouldn't expect big physical gains like loads more testosterone.
Right. Those small, temporary bumps seen in some studies just don't last. Levels tend to go back to normal pretty quickly.
What is really beneficial, though, and I think it maybe gets confused with the physical side of abstinence sometimes, is impulse control.
Yes, that's a key point.
Just the mental discipline of managing urges, whatever they are. That seems universally good for mental health and overall well-being, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Developing impulse control is a powerful skill, regardless of the context.
And what about the idea of losing nutrients? You know, that ejaculation depletes you.
Yeah, that's another common concern. Semen does contain nutrients, vitamin C, fructose, zinc, things like that.
But is it a significant loss?
Not really, no. The amounts are quite small in the grand scheme of your daily nutritional needs. Like the zinc lost is maybe 3% of what you need in a whole day. Your body easily makes that up with a decent diet. Nutritionally, it's really not something to worry about based on the evidence.
Okay, that's reassuring. So if the physical depletion idea is largely a myth, what about frequency? Do any sources offer guidance? Maybe not for boosting T, but just as a lifestyle thing?
Some do offer general guidelines, often based more on observation or tradition than hard science about depletion. It varies by age group in these suggestions.
Like what?
For instance, maybe 3-4 times a week in your 20s, dropping to 2-3 in your 30s, maybe twice a week max in your 40s, and perhaps once a week or less in your 50s and 60s, depending on health.
But these are just suggestions, not hard rules for health.
Exactly. More like lifestyle observations from some sources. And one source made a very practical point, sort of a personal opinion, saying life's complicated enough without turning down intimacy with a partner because of unfounded fears about ejaculation.
That seems like a pretty grounded take. Was there anything else interesting on frequency or effects?
Well, there was one controversial study mentioned, with pretty low evidence, mind you, suggesting people having sex without condoms showed slightly less propensity for depression.
Whoa, okay. But low evidence, you said?
Very low evidence. Definitely not a recommendation to ditch condoms, obviously, but just an interesting point raised in the source about potential mood links, maybe hormonal absorption, though it's highly speculative.
Gotcha. Speculative, not actionable. So let's focus on the actionable stuff. What are the evidence-based ways to actually support healthy testosterone levels?
Okay, this is where we have solid ground. Creatine comes up about 5 grams a day, similar to what you'd use for exercise.
Okay.
Then key vitamins and minerals. Addressing deficiencies is huge. We're
Yeah.
talking vitamin D, zinc, magnesium, boron, maybe DHEA, which is a hormone precursor.
So it's not about megadosing, but just fixing any shortfalls you might have.
Precisely. Yeah. Find out if you're deficient and correct it. And the potential impact is significant. Fixing multiple deficiencies, say you're low in both vitamin D and magnesium, could potentially lead to substantial increases, maybe even double your levels if they were low due to those deficiencies.
Wow. Okay. That's powerful. What else?
Two other big ones. Heavy strength training exercise that really challenges your muscles, engaging large groups.
Makes sense.
And finally, fixing your circadian rhythm. Getting enough high-quality sleep consistently, that's absolutely fundamental for hormone regulation.
Sleep. It always comes back to sleep, too.
It really does. Foundational for health.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. To summarize what we've unpacked for you. Yes, ancient wisdom touched on some things, but modern science gives us a much clearer picture. Your body is pretty resilient and actually designed for sexual activity. Freaking out about major negative impacts from ejaculation on health or testosterone seems largely unwarranted based on the evidence.
Agreed. The anxiety often outweighs any real effect.
Instead, if you really want to support your vitality, your testosterone levels, focus on the proven stuff. That means a good diet, checking for and fixing nutrient deficiencies with targeted supplements if needed, getting strong through exercise, and prioritizing sleep.
Those are the levers that truly move the needle.
Definitely.
So what does this all mean then? Think about everything we've discussed.
Yeah.
How does understanding the real biochemistry, knowing that ejaculation itself has such a minimal impact on testosterone, how does that knowledge maybe free you up? Free you from unnecessary worry?
Good question. Letting go of the myths.
Right, and allowing you to maybe focus your energy and attention on the health choices that actually make a difference, the ones that genuinely improve your quality of life, instead of getting bogged down by outdated or unfounded concerns.